start you can go ahead whenever you want.
All right. Hello, everybody. Greetings and welcome to the October meeting of the Chelsea Hell's Kitchen Land Use Committee.
That would be Clinton.
Yeah.
Clinton Hell's Kitchen Land Use Committee, sorry, the C/HKLU. And Manhattan Community Board 4 has a hybrid policy that can be found on our website. Board members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have a disability and or an extraordinary circumstance. Excused members and members of the public will still be able to participate virtually. Members who are joining via Zoom must leave their cameras on. This meeting will be streamed onto our YouTube channel tomorrow, and a transcript is being recorded. I am Paul Devlin, co-chair of the committee. JD is not going to be joining us this evening. In the room we have
Rachel Lee, committee member.
Andrew Miller, committee member.
Bob Manfred, committee member.
George Dutra, committee member.
Erin Hoffman, committee member.
Brian Alcibiade, committee member.
Kevin Connell's committee member.
And that gets us to quorum, so we can begin the meeting. We have
we also
online, we have a member joining us by Zoom.
Leslie Bogosian Murphy, member. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. We have one item on the agenda tonight is the budget request and statement of district needs for fiscal year 2027. We're going to rely on Bob Benfato to lead our discussion on that issue.
Sure, I'm just gonna summarize what we discussed at the last meeting when we went over. Some of it's gonna be repetitive for the 4 people who sat here last night. The housing committee for some of the same things. I'll start with the capital. The 4 capital things we discussed last time was the housing authority and take away Elliott Chelsea houses in one of the requests. And the second one was to turn some of the improvements to Harborview that are ongoing into a continuing support. And the third was to put the elevators at Harborview Terrace up at the top, but I don't know if that applies anymore because we're doing things by agency now as opposed to used to be before. And the only other thing I have here, the EBC, I don't know if we would do, but it's the Manhattan Cruise Ship Terminal. But I think it's more of a, I'm dealing with pollution. I think it's more of a waterfront and parks request.
Right.
I think that we put EDC was listed under Clinton Hell's Kitchen Land Use because we used to have a EDC request for the funding of the park. And so maybe that was the reason the agency was left over. So therefore you still are receiving the agency request, but I think that specific request is coming out of WPE.
Okay, that's the capital request for the committee.
Bob, I thought I had listed all. I thought we had also listed the HPD request.
I thought that would go through housing. I have those. I have one.
Go on.
413 West 46, the Hartley House. That's the good.
We put that for continued support last night, because the response from last year's budget is that they are going to accommodate it.
Okay.
Yeah, the second one was the one I was actually more thoughtful about.
The multifamily preservation loan program, senior affordable rental apartments.
Yeah, those
Affordable housing projects, 560 West 52nd, 464 West 25th, and 500 West 52nd.
Right. So those historically have gone through the land use committee rather than the housing committee.
Okay.
That's why it's there.
I got it.
So can I give a report from housing and the actions we took last night on Harborview? We are reaching out to a number of constituents to find out what has been done or not done yet, so we don't list something that's already settled. And the Harborview had 2 items. One is elevator replacement, so we kept that as number 1 under housing, because now it's by agency. So we have housing as the HPD portion, right? And then number 2 is a whole list of capital improvements, and that's we're reaching out to Maria Guzman, the president of the Tenant Association, and Gail Brewer, the council member, to determine exactly what has happened, what's about to happen. So we are clearly describing where our support should be. Yes.
Did you guys discuss, because at the last meeting we talked about, there was a capital budget for improvements at NYCHA Chelsea, but that those funds weren't appropriated, so we were trying to
Those are
claw those back. Is that a different part of the
Yeah,
process?
it's in housing too. We noted that all of those repairs that are noted are part of the redevelopment plan, no matter what version it's in. So therefore,
Where are those dollars that we're
right,
gonna ask?
so the question, yes, exactly.
And move to the hall.
Right,
And then is that coming from HHHS or is it coming from us?
we actually forgot about it last night, but it's gonna come from us because we need to bring
Then
it
it's
up.
coming from us then.
Okay.
But Roberta also, for the benefit of everyone, just on the budget process, Roberta also clarified that to the extent that different committees raise similar or overlapping issues,
Yeah,
that helps the budget task force then prioritize them as like, oh, these are important for many of the committees. So that's good to know since we have housing committee members sitting here, but if we do have overlaps, don't let that be a
Right,
reason
right.
for not listening.
no, I just wanna make sure that it didn't fall through the cracks and that there is that clawback.
It fell through the cracks, so
So
we bring it up, so bring it up tonight, so it can be brought here, and then eventually
And then it goes-
at budget task force, it all gets reconciled together.
Okay, second question I have, Bob, is on the DOB button for declaring preservation district non-demolition. Is that not capital? Can we?
That's expense.
It's expense.
Because you're paying the staff to do it, they have the program.
But it may be, and maybe we think about it as a capital, because the budget to get the software programming done and complete is a one-off.
They have,
Then
the-
they have the
they
staffing.
have, they have the software in place. It's hiring the consultant or the in-house person to make a change.
I was just trying to think of a new way of getting that.
It's the personnel budget.
Software, isn't software expense not capital?
Not if you buy it, like this massive thing they did where they were redoing the entire system. That was, but now it's tweaking the system.
I can give you an update on that, just so you know that we did confirm the district's managers have these borough-wide budget consultations the last month or so. We did meet with DOB. They confirmed with us that all of the funding for DOB Now, which is the new, website and online portal is completely funded, and as well as the funding to bring Biz, which is the older version, business, which is the building information system, which we all know, which we all grew up with, has been the funding to bring that over into DOB has been approved and fully funded. So that's
Over into DOB now.
yes. So that's all going to happen. It's all going to be migrated over to one system. It's going to take time, but the funding is there, which is the big issue for bringing over Biz. So I don't think it's really a capital. It is an expense at this point. There's nothing really to say. They're just going to say we paid for it already. What we really need them to do is go into that system and make the changes to flag for DOB, for demo work and for examiners and
So-
for.
Didn't we just write that letter? Or am I wrong?
We've been writing that
We were-
letter for many years.
No.
We've been saying
No, we did.
flag the.
An updated version of the letter.
We just sent an admin letter specifically on.
And then the full letter,
And then the
right.
full letter came out of board saying, put this in place.
So what happened in between is that Jesse had a meeting where there was a response back. That's unbelievable. Someone who's the intergov at DOB said, oh, we already have that. Here's what it is. Yeah, that's the special district checkbox, not the demo restriction checkbox.
So,
I wanna
Like
be
the
clear,
person.
I'm not saying they said anything about what we're requesting. I'm
It's
just
like
telling
you
you that the
understand.
funding for the migration of the two systems to become one, which is the overall issue, because we needed that to happen, so then we can say they need to put flagging into the system for the demo when people file
Demo
for
restriction.
demo
Okay.
restrictions.
Okay, thanks. Any other capital budget issues that people have thought about in the past month?
Yes, yesterday Kevin brought up an issue about planning at housing and referred it to this committee.
Thank you for that segment.
We had a lot of stuff at housing this like.
We discussed in the budget committee, follow through the many discussions we've had here of all the work that's been going on, all the different unit classes, all the different environments and the impact areas. Individually, they may or may not trigger a required study, the cumulative. Let's take an example, these numbers are not, yeah. And if it had 1,000 units, it would trigger a study. But one project has 600 units, another project has 500 units, separately, we won't trigger each other. But cumulatively, takes the hypothetical 1,000, number, everybody follow me?
Yeah.
So what we're calling on is DCP, Department of City Planning, to do the study. Taking a look at what's going on in the past, recent past, present, and planning the future. To see, so we can be proactive. And as the Department of City Planning says on its own website, which I checked on today.
Dedicated planning,
To have an improved, good infrastructure. In no particular thing, you need more buses, more schools, more healthcare facilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So call it DCP to do that study.
And I think that falls well with, all of our conversations around City of Yes was about that. All of our applications that come in, they're all right under the threshold of school seat triggers. So not only to do the study, but I would think to study how to put together a forward plan to say, every 6 months, they need to evaluate a cumulative impact of applications. I think they're going to say no to this, right? But I think it's good for us to get it in and start the process. We need a consultant to do a study, and
it's our only city planning request the board's gonna do. So that sounds
We
pretty
should
good.
probably have like a threshold of, I mean, the first step is just figuring out how many like new units are going to be added cumulatively, but then. I would say have some number, like if more than 500 units are gonna be added in a year or something like that, then we think a study is warranted. And then I think we should give a list of like, here's what we think is most important.
You have to, if there's an application that comes in with 500, it automatically triggers
No, I'm
a
saying
review of the cumulative impact of the past 3 months, let's say.
Well, we like every year for them to do an exercise of taking a educated guesstimate at how many units are going to be built in say in the next year or the next 2 years. And then based on that, in this neighborhood, it's probably going to almost always be over the threshold. But I think we should give it a number, like if some like, if nothing's being built, no need to do a study, but
The problem is, Jennifer, is that one project alone in our district.
you know, that's why I'm saying it should be.
1,400 or something.
That's why.
Yeah, but I think Joe, what do you
That's
think?
why I think, like, the first step is just having an estimate of like, we think about, like, at least 1,000 units are being built, we think at least 3,000 units are being built in the next 2 years, whatever, like. Once you have the estimate, then you say, anytime our estimate is more than 500. We should like.
Just be careful
planning should do
of
something.
giving them exit strategy.
Yeah, but I think to
That's the-
address Kevin's.
It's the broader,
Right, you have a 500 and the trigger is 1,400 school, 1,400 new units triggers a school study. If they do a 700 and then they do an 800, it doesn't trigger it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we
Right,
could
so
just say
you're
like,
saying-
whatever the threshold is in. Like, what's the one? Like an EIS study,
secret.
Yeah.
yeah, like we should. If the cumulative count is greater than that, then it's not gonna show up in the individual studies, but. Like,
Yeah.
that point, city planning should be triggered to,
I think we're in agreement, but it's
Yeah.
like, what is the, how do you capture it in a way?
I mean, I think the secret requirement's actually a good, like, if
But that-
cumulative
that we know.
development by approved projects in the
But cum-
pipeline.
Let me ask the question a different way. Cumulative how? Quarterly, monthly, by development site triggering a number? What's your thought on that?
Oh, I mean, that's why I was going pretty broad strokes, but I would say like. Total. Like, units in a year. Like, if next year,
So units in a year?
yeah, that, I mean, that's how, that would be like the.
That'd be very high.
I would suggest, a look back, so we want to jump off, we were now on October of 25. Go back to January 1st of 24 forward. And
Yeah.
when it hits X, that triggers the study, and then from that point forward. Until the next time it hits X, that triggers the study, another study.
Yeah, that'd be
Well,
fun.
instead of getting so much methodology, just ask them to do it first. Like, that's like an expense right there, just to like,
Yeah, I
to
think that-
look back and figure out, it's like
Want them to look at this district or?
our district, it's our district.
well, we're gonna ask for our district, but it would make sense to do citywide. But
I
we need to ask for our
absolutely
district.
think that
We need to ask for our district.
Our district.
We only ask for our district, but I think that we could say. Based on City of Yes projections, which had a cumulative
yeah.
impact, based on the increase in residential FAR cap. Or the elimination of the residential FAR cap. We want to.
Based on garment center rezoning, in other words, whatever our list of recent rezonings were.
We want to look at it.
You can do it just based on things that have been permitted, like not built. Be
But
5
we
years
want-
till
but
they're
we
built
want to
and
study to look at things-
occupied, but
Kevin's point too is that we want to start this process, we want the study done now. What is the cumulative impact based on all these changes? But also we want a system integrated for future impacts. Because right now, for example, we're looking at an 18 FAR residential development, that will certainly impact it, but what's next to it and nearby and how that impacts schools, that cumulative impact won't be looked at.
But we need to list then all the things that we want them to look at, right, all the services, things like that, that's the key part of it.
yeah, and probably if we can give a more
Like flush it,
concrete
flush it.
answer, that'll
And maybe
be,
what
that'll
we
be
do is we
productive.
put it in as a budget request now for the study on the cumulative impact, then maybe we write a letter that has more detail on more.
No, I would put as much as you can in the budget request, otherwise which we said this for how many decades?
Right.
Look at all the services before you do stuff, so the services can catch up to the proposal, right? You just say, here's what it is, study all these XXXXX items, right? In order to create like baseline study for community district 4.
There's a budget task force meeting on the 21st this month.
I think it makes sense to do like. Look at permitted units, because that. Like, how much is going to get built by city of yes is quite fuzzy, and that's gonna,
No, but these are actions, here's, a couple things, you have zoning actions that have happened, they're in the ground. And they've said X number of units will happen over a period of time, so that's a
Yeah.
fact, right? Not gonna go away. You have permitted, it's not yet, ULURP applications that have been filed.
oh,
Are winding their way through, they're not permitted.
I know, and that's like. I think it is sort of. Fuzzy,
But that's
and
called,
sometimes things end up being more or less.
but that's called planning.
Right, but I think, like, the good thing about building is that it is. Well, not always good, but in this case, it's good that building is slow, so if you say like. Like. Between something being permitted and being occupied could be like probably at least like 3 years. That is time to do a study and start taking actions to address future impact.
It's not time to develop those services. Without, way the city budget works, there's no way to develop those services in 3 years. You have to be able to say, get a baseline information, right? On all your actions you've taken, I would say quantify it, past 5 years, something like, I mean, I give some time frame for it.
We just said 5 years, we can go back that far.
I just don't think it's very compelling to say like, we want more bus service because we think some more units are gonna be built.
No, I think so, here's the
Versus,
way,
we can
here's the way,
say like,
here's the
this
way,
many units have
here's
been
the way
permitted.
I'm proposing we phrase this. We want a study done of the cumulative impact of the last, I said 12 months, you're gonna say 5 years. ULURP approvals plus upcoming ULURPs, taking into consideration the city of yes and MSMX rezonings. Does that cover us?
Because remember, any secra has all these projects. By law, they have, if someone has filed or made some action about something, it has to be included in that secret, right?
Yeah,
The problem is they don't look at it in totality, they just kind of say it. Like the CBS site, for example, that's shown up in more than one environment.
So let me ask you a question, Joe and Kevin, is 12 months or do you want to go farther back?
It's gotta be further back from 12 months is a blip.
January 1st of 2021. 21, 22, 23.
5 years, yeah.
All right, so
So the point of it is, the study just creates the snapshot. And then they can always, and then give us methodology to evaluate depending upon what gets built or not, like in other words, but first create the snapshot. And then you evaluate against the snapshot.
Just a question about listing all the services, when you, Jesse, when you fill out the budget stuff online, is there a limit to the number of characters you can put in any given field?
Former district manager speaking.
Yeah, but they're pretty, it's pretty, large, so.
Yeah, some of those are pretty big, but yeah. That's a real question.
So do we want to make this as a one expense request?
Yes, because well, there is no other committees that made any requests for city planning. Yeah, we don't have.
That's right, it's within the.
It's within the-
This
is gonna be the only
within
one
the
that-
agencies, yeah.
This is not, we're gonna be the number one DCP request.
Number one.
It's gonna be the number one.
Leslie, you raised your hand. Were you trying to say something?
No, I mean, WPE actually, Jesse, remember, was it just a month or two ago? We wrote a letter similar to this, actually. We wanted to know, within the constraints of environmental, the cumulative effect of all these builds that, we weren't seeing, because everything was being on an individual basis, reviewed. And that was our concern, that there were so many of these very giant projects in our district, and there are upcoming projects that Jesse, I don't even think we got a response, right? I know we asked.
No, you wrote an admin letter basically asking what are the federal, state, and local and the city agencies
The
doing?
mechanism, yeah.
What would they be how could they do this, and how would they be doing it? And so I don't believe we got a response yet, but yeah.
So, well, we should include Chelsea Nitro as part of this. That's a huge development that was planned, and the ESD sites. Both Javits and Site K and Intrepid. So those are actively, under consideration. And those are large.
Yeah.
Oh, Slaughterhouse is without question.
So I think we're good with this, right? We're going to do this for DCP, and it's going to be expense, right? I mean, it's a study.
Is this study an
Yeah,
expense or a capital?
Expense.
Not
Well,
capital.
keep doing it in theory, so
Yeah.
definitely expense.
There is a city planning expense request pre-existing, but I don't think it was us, it's on fund homeowner floodproofing measures.
Yeah, it's Clue.
But.
That was Clue.
It's Clue. That's been there for a very long time.
I think as we get to this, Clue would probably agree this idea is the number one, because in that committee, they're constantly asking the same question. Look at the overall picture,
It'll be figured out by the task force.
Site K, Intrepid, and what was the other one you said?
Travis?
Site K,
Site K, Intrepid, and.
no, Intrepid and Site K,
Yeah,
and Chelsea Nitro.
and Nitrogen. All right, great. Onward.
Onward and expense. There was 1, 2, 3 buildings requests. Which we've gone over before. One is to expand funding for code enforcement. Which is 1 or 2 dedicated inspectors for special districts. Hashes, and because of the city's guest proposal, there'll be increased need for inspectors. And we want the staffing levels thus to become more sufficient for them. Which is a standard request we've asked. The second one is to expand funding for staff, and this discusses the expedite technology updates. This is what we just talked about, special district or arts and all that. And the third one was additional funding for Department of Building Enforcement inspectors for non-compliant ADA entrances. That sounds like a joke.
And did we drop the plans examiners from the prior year? We took what? Plans examiners, DOB plans examiners.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
That's just,
the share.
no, we had it, this is this ongoing thing where they don't have trained plans examiners.
Yeah, I think that got somehow we got 1 or 2 dedicated enforcement folks, but we lost the plan examiners. So
Maybe we just added in that same, the first west
And the first one.
enforcement, and because that's how we got that 50th Street thing, because they didn't know what they were looking at.
Yeah.
So there was 3 you said, Bob?
That's for buildings. And there's one for landmarks. Case backlog, it took away the Bayview former prison. But still left the St. Benedict the Moore Church and the new dramatists at 42-4 West 44th Street. Increased staff, the LPC expedite recommendation for landmark.
Does Chelsea have landmarks requests? Jessica?
that's a good question. I don't know. I would have to go back and I'd have to. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a specific sites. I would have to wait till we have the meeting on the 20th before I could say.
Okay.
On that item, do we care about LPC saying they don't have a case backlog?
What they said, right?
That's their answer.
That's always been an answer, but they do have a case, but they've always been.
I mean, when we tried to get additional sites, they're landmarked in the MSMX rezoning, they were like, that's too much work for us to do. I mean, that was
They actually
literally
said
their
that.
response. They were like, we can't process that many applications, and so we're gonna cut the number of sites. we're gonna
Yeah,
approve.
that's a good point, Paul. I think we need to add those sites into this list.
Add the Garment Center District ones on,
Yeah, let's,
yeah,
because we only had like 5 or 6.
Yeah, the only issue is that that's not really backlog in the sense, the list, the sites here we listed here, I think are ones that actually have been submitted for, review, or I forget the word it's called.
Yeah, but these showed up in the Euler as landmark eligible. That's why we chose them.
yeah, I think
I would just
change the language a little bit.
I would just change the language there to say N landmark eligible buildings, so it's not, you're acknowledging the fact that some of these are not necessarily have been submitted like as to be reviewed by LPC, but they are eligible. So I
So make it 2 parts, and these sites found landmark eligible under the EIS for the Garment MSMX rezoning.
And the funding request is for increasing staffing capacity, so they can review these things.
Right, that's the key, right, I forgot, I said that, we don't have any staff,
We can't do it.
They don't
we
have
can
to,
rezone 60 blocks.
that's how they keep my case backlog.
Right, there's no case backlog because they refuse to look at it, because they don't have the staff to do it. Nice circular argument. Okay,
Alright. And there are 2 HPD expense requests, increase HPD funding and scope of the emergency repair program.
They're covered in housing already.
And housing. And the other one is, we probably covered in housing too, it's additional funding for a housing attorney and 10 organized at HCC.
No, we learned today, they don't need that anymore, it's funded.
And then the last is housing authority again, it's back to elevators, but it's the expense part about
Maintenance thing.
having a maintenance person.
Doesn't have that, so, got it,
Okay,
it's like our second item, right, Rachel? I think.
that's it.
so. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, there's a public task force meeting on the 21st of this month, and then this goes to full on the first one, if you remember, right?
Yes.
So how are we gonna capture the revised language?
Well, from last night's meeting,
Right.
I worked on that today, Maria and I made calls to Ryan, to HCC. So we did a follow-up, what they need or don't need,
Awesome.
so we're gonna issue something next week.
Send it to Roberta.
Give some to Roberta, but Jesse said just do a tab spreadsheet by agency, and then we'll send it to her, and then she'll put the amalgam of everything together. And so whatever language,
Paul and I will work on getting something to Justin.
The only reason I asked that was Roberta sent out email to them folks on that, but the task force, we're already subgroups. So I'm just trying to figure out how to try to.
it was, because, by the way, our committee had so much more, I mean, a lot of stuff last night. So part of this is,
Yeah, this committee doesn't have that much.
yeah, so we really went through carefully and pulled it all together. We did the order because the order is, we left it in the order that it was the broader stuff now by agency instead. So I think the same thing, just create a tab spreadsheet with the agencies and the changing of 18 if we vote. And that goes to Roberta and they put it all together.
But fortunately, we don't have to take all of these and prioritize them, we can do it by agency, and since we have one for housing, one for we have none for HPD, we have 2
Yeah, we
for
have HPD.
LPC.
We have HPD for capital.
The capital.
On the capital, but only one.
Right,
Yeah, we don't, the only one that we want to prioritize is the DOB stuff on, expense for code enforcement, expediting technology updates and ADA compliance, those 3.
But I'm assuming we're gonna put the friggin' button on. The general restriction button is number 1.
Yeah.
That's like advocate for a button, it's like, same.
Right, demo button, number 1. And then the staff trainings, code enforcement, plan examiners and inspectors, number 2.
Yeah.
Is everyone okay with that? And then expedited technology updates or ADA compliance for 3 and 4. Anybody have a preference on prioritizing either one of the other?
Isn't this technology?
Expedited technology updates is,
I thought that was the button.
That's the one.
no, that's the button. Okay, all right. So then ADA compliance.
That's
becomes
number one, ADA is there.
ADA compliance becomes number 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
just the letter.
And then for LPC, do we want to address the backlog first or the increased staffing first?
Increase staffing and payment systems on that.
Okay. And within that, the framework of specifically MSMX, where they rejected things because they didn't have the staffing, like put that language in there. How we were impacted, yeah. And then the other ones, all the backlog ones, okay. Anything else, Bill?
Let's call it.
All right. I would entertain a motion to send forward the priority list as Bob has described to the budget task force. So moved. Joe moves, Kevin seconds, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Anybody present not eligible?
Present eligible on the one item, putting out the multifamily.
Joe's P&E on 1. Okay, Leslie, you voted yes, correct? Okay, thank you. All right.
I'll just notice that we do have someone from the public online. I don't know if they have anything, they've come to say anything. I just want to make sure that they have a moment. If they do want to say something.
Mr. McCown, if you have something to add, you want to raise your hand, we can migrate you over to the panel virtually. Virtual hand, please. Yes, thank you. I guess it's been 4 years of Zoom. Maybe I would hope.
No, nobody knows anything.
All right, I'm not seeing his hand go up. Under old business, Jesse, did you have anything to report back from the admin letter we sent on 404 West 50th Street? Did they say or do anything?
I'm sorry, I don't have anything to report, unfortunately. I
Okay.
certainly follow up, but I don't have it. They did not respond.
Can you raise it at your district cabinet next week?
Yep. And I believe, right, there was a request for us to set up a meeting with them, right, with DOB on this?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on that.
Okay, thanks, Jesse. Any other issues for old business?
Yes, a quick one. I got an email today from Paul about work starting at 343 West 47th Street. That's a special permit for the illegal demolition. I'll follow up on that with the owners. They contacted the adjacent building owner saying they're starting construction. And we'll report back, just like came out of the blue today.
343 West 47th Street is the project next to the playground on 47th Street. That has been years and years and years of reconfigurations and all this, and we've been trying to work with the developer. And every time they come forward and say they're gonna move forward, then it stalls again. So we'll see what happens.
And then 2 others on legal demolitions, 319, 321 West 38th Street. That's one of the first ones that ever happened. That hotel has been constructed and the apartments have been constructed. And then the last moment, little rent gets thrown in, HPD and the units that we negotiated, which they didn't want at all, have now said there must be a homeless requirement. I don't know how you put a homeless requirement in an 11-unit building with no services at all. It's very similar to our meeting last night, Rachel, where we talked about how do we do this without services. It's a guaranteed recipe for not success. And then I also received a call from the attorney at 317, 319 West 35th Street, which we've seen many times in housing. And the project is back on again. This is Mrs. Who and the whole bribery scandal thing with the mayor.
Is this the building with the elevator, we wanted with the door on the side?
Exactly,
Yeah.
right, and it's back on again, and so I said, okay, let's talk about it, and they got a homeless requirement. For 5 units out of like 8, like, again, so this is news in the last like week and a half. So I'll be reporting in housing, and then just as I get more information as to what exactly this is, report back to the community.
The one
Thanks.
with the hotels and apartments constructed, what was the address to that one again?
319, 321 West 38. These are like seared in my brain at this point.
All right, any new business people want to bring up?
Just a public service announcement.
Super segment.
The Yankee game began a couple months ago. It's a good story.
Hey, that thing's around.
Thank you everybody for filling out the community district needs survey. If you haven't already, please do so. Please forward it to folks that you may know that work, live, or have an interest in the community. It's very helpful to the budget task force. So I appreciate everybody, doing what you've done so far. So thanks a lot. Anybody from the public, please do the same.
Thank you, Kevin.
And I'd add, if you are connected to any block associations, community groups of any sort, please circulate it. All right, I will then.
I have
Yes.
one thing, I just want to let everybody know, I've been just doing this as a public service announcement sort of for us as well. Some of these folks in the room have already heard this 6 times over. So where you are right now, right, is 353 West 30th Street. It is a Clinton Housing Development Company building. It's a residential building that has this beautiful, wonderful community space in the back of it. We historically have always used this space since I was a district manager for multiple committees. When COVID hit, we had to change the way we've been handling ourselves. So we're back in this space. It's great, and Clinton Housing has been very generous with their allowing us to basically use it at night whenever we want it. But during the day, it is used for multiple purposes, for residents in the building, for admin meetings, for food distribution, all sorts of stuff. And so we do need to make sure we leave it in a clean and organized way. Rachel Lee has been nice enough to agree to break down the tech. The tech has to be taken down every night and put into a secure locker, which is in the room. I don't know if Rachel can do it every night, but so someone will need to do that. And so there's instructions on top of the locker on how to do all of that. And but Rachel also can obviously help you, or someone who else going forward if someone else is going to do it. And so that's all I'm raising for tonight.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you. Rachel can do it every night. I am here. So,
Of course.
Just get an
Thank-
apartment.
yeah. And thank you to Bob for meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor? All opposed? Andy, we're out. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.